We live?
We live. Let's go.
What's up, y'all? We live and direct.
What's up,
Live and
everybody?
direct. This is full disclosure. You got Derek Lamont Williams first, Big Dick Dashley, Rich Green, and the little lady of the house, Lisa Burnett. And we're here to tell it to you like a T.I. motherfucking is. How we doing today, y'all?
What's up?
Great.
I'm
Doing
all
great.
right. I'm all
You
right.
good?
I'm ready.
You good?
I'm ready.
Hey, just a little something, saw the Equalizer 2 last night. Top 5 Denzel joint right now. Oh, gotta go check it out. If you ain't seen it, go check it out. 2 thumbs up, snaps in the squares. It was crazy, man. Denzel off the hook.
So he put it down.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, classic. I want to go see it again right now. Tell you the truth.
Yeah, it was a pretty good movie. I saw it too.
All right. So we're gonna have to check that out. What's up, Kenneth Smiley?
What's up, y'all? Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for everybody that supported us last week. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna go in like Flynn again this week. You know what I mean? So what's up, Dick Dashley? What's in your mind? You want to set this one off?
Oh man. You know, I'm gonna defer because last week I think first time we did this, I kind of started off. Next time you started off, I think we're gonna give it to Lisa. Lisa, what's on your mind today?
Well, I was thinking about this healthcare that we have going on here. So I got a sick family member, and I'm just not satisfied with the way they treating her and what she been going through. Like, there's no communication. Doctors don't know what. 1 minute she had to get surgery. The next minute she didn't have to get surgery. They were going to send her home this day. And it's just, there's no communication. And
Well, we all know the healthcare system is a sham, man. It really is a sham. Like from if you got money, you can live. You don't, sayonara. You know what I mean? It's just what it is. Like they take you through so many changes. If you got money, you don't have to go through all that. You know what I mean? You got a specialist. That specialist know you go to the doctor, hospital, man. It'd be like 3-4 doctors come in and ask you the same question. Like, damn, don't y'all talk to each other?
Yeah, I just went over this with
the last cat. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's frustrating. I know. I mean, with healthcare, taking care of your loved ones when they get older, and all kinds of stuff like that, it's rough. It's definitely rough.
yeah, it is.
Hey, what's going on, Mr. Zink? And I see you joined us too. So, as far as that goes, I mean, it is not what it is. Because if you look at other countries that are industrialized like the United States, they have free universal health care, or at least a single payer system, even if it's not free. There may be some sort of copay, but it's not the same as it is in the States because, you're talking about care in general. But what about after that care is done, the bills that tend to mount up? I believe that's like the number one cause of bankruptcy for middle-class families is medical bills.
Rack up fast. They rack up fast. Yeah, they rack up fast. They charge you $30 for like a aspirin when you in that port. You know what I mean?
I found out something interesting this week. So, not Cleveland Clinic, but most hospitals, the doctors that are in the hospitals are not employees of the hospital. They are like hired contractors for the hospital. So when you get charged for certain things from the hospital, that's why you get 2 sets of bills. You get 1 set of bills for like your bed and room and board, food, maybe the nurses, certain things, bandages. Then you get another bill that comes from the doctor's office itself. And that's separate from there. But the big thing that's going on with healthcare now is the fact that the hospitals are trying to control that cost. Like the doctors don't have a vested interest in necessarily saving the hospital money. It's more of a vested interest to make sure that the doctor gets paid. I mean, it's expensive to pay your malpractice insurance along with paying the bills for your practice. And you have your own set of employees, you have your own set of office hours, and you spend X amount of time inside the hospital. So that doctor's whole thing is to make sure that their grind, their hustle is ongoing. So the hospitals experience large bills or maybe lack of payment from some of the patients, then they have to chase down that money. That's why, medical billing and encoding, that's a big thing, but, I just found that out this week. So if there's any doctors out there who want to chime in and explain that, we definitely love to hear. Hey, Sean Ray, how you doing today? Thanks for joining us.
What you gonna say?
I said, as me being in the healthcare field, it's like it's crazy because what I see and what I experience and what they try to tell you is totally two different things. And I see the difference between the ones that have the money and the ones that don't have the money, and it's crazy. It really is. And I fear for my family member, not just because of the lifestyle they live, but because they don't have the money that some have. They ain't getting the right care, and that person don't seem to have the wherewithal to even know that they ain't doing the right thing, and they getting railroad. Like they don't have that.
That's why, man. I always like to go big picture on things like that, and that's why we have to take care of ourselves now. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna pay for it now. You're gonna pay for it later.
When you say take care of yourself, what you mean? Elaborate.
We need to take care of ourselves.
Like eating right, exercise.
Right, yes, exactly. You're gonna eat. You go to the grocery store. Somebody says something to me like, you see that organic, and they be like $7 or $8, and you say, so if somebody said you could pay that money now, or you could pay that money later. You know what I'm saying? So
hey, you gonna pay it.
I debate like, maybe I won't get the organic, but that is the day. I'm like, nah, I better go ahead and get it. We have to eat right. We have to exercise. We have to take care of our bodies, because if we don't, they're gonna get you in this healthcare, and you know what I mean. They're gonna put you on a pill. First things first. As soon as you cough wrong, they want to give you a pill, and that pill gonna cost something else. They're gonna give you a pill for that, and then they want to get. They don't cure nothing. They want to make you live with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's against their benefit to cure anything.
And that's why I was
Why
telling
would they
this
kill
family
you?
member that. I was telling this family member that same thing, and I was telling other family members, like, stop taking these pills. Like, you don't even need these pills. I'm telling y'all don't.
You don't need the
Just
pills.
research and just change your diet. And I guarantee you, I promise.
Like when I tell you that my mom wanted bacon, I say, Mom, you know what she said? The hospital said I can eat it. You think the hospital want you to be all right? You know what I mean? The hospital don't want you to be all right. They want you to come back. They want you to be a repeat customer. Everybody wants, any business want repeat customers. You know what I'm saying? If we hear you know.
Business.
Hey, what my man Chris Rock say? The money ain't in the cure. The money in the treatment. It's in the medicine.
You know what I'm saying?
So if I could make you limp along and live with it, hey, what's going on, Jerome Newman? Hey, Charmaine, what's going on, Charmaine? Mr. Zink, in this show is a general show. We talk about any and everything, subjects that are on our mind. If you got something you want to add to it, or some expertise, give us a holler. Put your question right there. We want to hear from you. But we're talking about healthcare right now. This is full disclosure. You got the lovely Lisa. You got Derek. You got your man Baba Big Rich in the house. So, but you had mentioned eating right, food. Now, I remember growing up, the organic options were actually cheaper. You went to the fruit and vegetable section, it was actually cheaper than the stuff that was processed. The frozen dinners were cheap, were more expensive.
Yes,
Everything was. Now you can go get a frozen dinner for $1. 10 for 10.
That's
Back in the day.
Organic was you wasn't getting no health care. They wasn't getting no problems. So they had to change it up.
Yeah, they didn't know we would get sick if we ate all that.
But so now the meats have gotten cheaper and cheaper to make, because they can make it stay on the shelf longer and longer. So that's why the frozen dinners were so much expensive then. This ain't the same meat. It's just like when you used to go to McDonald's. I know everybody's experienced this when they changed it. And it was like, you've been into that shop, like, what is this? This ain't the same Big Mac.
This ain't the same,
before. It's not the same thing. They use it, the cheaper and cheaper they get to make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper.
Yeah.
So
the profits go up.
Yeah. Exactly.
So they can sell it to you at the same price, but the quality,
they can even raise the price
it somewhat,
and it's costing them less to make. You know what I mean?
Hey, well, I ain't saying I'm Superman, but the one thing, and you talk about Tibet and disease before it comes. I'm a testament to that. I know when I'm doing right and I know when I'm doing wrong. The minute I start eating processed foods, I gain weight. Like right now, I gained 13 pounds over the last 2 months just because I haven't been eating right. I've actually been eating less portions, but just the wrong type of foods. Mm-hmm. And so every year, I grow a garden. and I finally got a little bit of a harvest. I made me some greens, and I got my habanero peppers. It was so pitiful, but it was really good. It had such a better taste, and a better feel. And I would urge people in the summertime, or if you can do it year round, start growing your garden, start growing your vegetables, teach your kids how to do it as well. So they just grow up. It's just a natural thing for them to do.
We've been talking about doing that something. We gotta get to growing a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Get that group, because that's currency. If you grow your own food, that's less we need from. You know what I'm saying? It's just that's just the thing. I think it's more about prevention. We have to get to the source. We have to, I don't want to be in hospitals. I can't stand hospitals. I don't want to be in and out of hospitals every 2-3 months. I just had a coworker pass away. He was I don't even think he was 60 years old. Wow. I think he had gout like 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Like we just got to take care of ourselves, and hopefully we can stay out that healthcare system, as much as possible.
And Jerome Newman said we need to be self-sufficient. And that's what growing a garden, having that type of thing, they got us away from farming. They were paying black farmers not to farm. And actually, it was an article that came out this week. I don't know if y'all saw it. With the seeds, the black farmers got a less quality seed than the other farmers did. So they couldn't grow their crops like everybody else did. And I think they got like a $30 million lawsuit. And I might have the dollar amount wrong. So if go ahead and put it in the comments and correct me. But that just goes to show you they don't want you growing that stuff.
No.
And then now you got companies like DuPont and Monsanto. What they do is when they sell the seeds are good for one harvest. And if the seeds blow over to, like, let's say the neighbor's yard, neighbor's garden, or whatever, and they grow, they can actually be sued by Monsanto or DuPont or a company like that because they didn't go buy the seed. So they are engineering the seeds and where they only yield one crop per year. If you try to get it a second year, things that were growing 6 foot tall corn stalks will be about 3 feet or 2 feet because they want that money over and over again. So when you hear GMO, genetically modified organisms, you want to stay away from that type of thing if you can. But in a lot of cases, we don't even know.
Right.
And now, from what I understand, now y'all got more experience in that because you going. They don't eat meat, y'all. I still like bacon. Still like my chicken. You mentioned gout. I battle gout, so I can't eat red meat anymore. But how many people don't know that? I know from restricting myself from certain things what my triggers are,
right.
And what brings that on. That's why people lose cartilage in their knee and their joints. They seize up because the uric acid inside the red meat causes that pain. And when it causes that pain, it actually causes these little bubbles that get in between. They're hard. And that's what gives you that pain. And you wonder why you're walking. So then they give you a medicine that supposedly reduces it, but it just makes it livable.
Yeah.
And once again, it makes it livable.
There it goes again.
Yeah.
And see, there you go. You're getting a knee injection. You're getting a replacement, but not getting off what I was saying, growing that garden, and then we're talking about Monsanto year over year, we have to start growing our stuff as much as we can, greenhouses, support those type of initiatives. I think that there should be classes within elementary school, high school, and junior high, where the kids go out there and every year they're tending the field, they're growing their food.
I remember when I was in elementary school on Earth Day, we went out there, we planted flowers and a tree. And we learned a little bit about gardening.
We had the 4-H club. I don't know if you remember the 4-H club where you do the same type of deals and plant little seeds and grow little gardens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they took that out. I don't know if they do those type of things.
No, they don't. Because I be asking my kids, and my kids are like, what?
Hey, Mr. Z, yeah, we are local. Mr. Zink was asking, is this a local show? Yes. But you could tune in anywhere worldwide. Anybody that had his feed, you can share with your friends, the whole nine. How you doing? We got the Unique Baker, Nevada. Y'all get y'all cakes and pies from this woman. If you can see the comments, go ahead, click on her name, friend her up. When you have a birthday party or you need a cake, wedding, whatever it is, why don't you see her? Hey, what's going on with you, Jewel? Good to see you coming in, big sis.
What's up, JJ?
Shout out to you.
Hey, I want to go here because your topic, we talked about kind of goes right into what I want to talk about. You know what I mean? And I just, I had, not me personally, but somebody I knew had people in their circle that committed suicide. You know what I'm saying? Recently, in the last couple of weeks. And it's been like rampant, like in the last year, just, people taking their own lives, people killing themselves, people depressed, people, it's really about mental health. We talked about the physical health. And I think one thing in our community, especially in the Black communities, and everybody, when we talk about topics and issues, it relates to everybody. We, talking specifically about our community, you know what I'm saying? Because this is the thing, every community has things that's unique, not maybe unique to them, things they deal with, like, white housewives. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things that they deal with
that we
wouldn't know anything about. So, when I'm talking about mental health in our communities, we spend some time on our physical health, but I think we still. I seen Michelle Williams from Destiny's Child just checked herself into. Yeah, she checked herself into a health facility, and she's been, what I'm saying, suffering from that. I don't know.
Did she have a baby?
I don't know. I know she's been suffering from depression for a long time. And she's been going to treatment. Maybe, I don't know, she relapsed or whatever, but now she checked herself into a place. And, just been athletes, and you've seen different people dealing with different things. And one things, man, and, we have to be, we have to check on our people. We have to talk to each other. We have to look out for each other. You know what I mean? And a lot of times it's the people who we're closest to. We so ugly to each other, man. It's like, what I'm saying? Like, people who claim to love each other do each other the worst sometimes. And we don't know what folks are dealing with. Everybody has their own battles. Everybody's going through something. You could be with somebody every single day and not know what it is they're going through. And I just think people, we need to look out for each other, not be so harsh and be so ugly with each other. And you know what I mean? Let it be, it's just, it seems simple, but you know what I mean? It's just
why is it so taboo for a man to be depressed? Like, when it's a woman, it's like, oh, she's depressed, let's get her help. What can we do to help you? But when it be a man, it'd be like, man, if you don't man up, could be a little punk.
Yeah, that's the toxic masculinity. That's the thing that we deal with, as men. It's, when everybody's looking to you and you're supposed to be the rock. You know what I mean? It's hard to be vulnerable sometimes.
I agree. Now, Jewel Mitchell just chimed in. She said, I know I suffer from really bad anxiety issues. And I know that for a fact because she'll call me sometimes. Just piggybacking that, keep your thought. I think sometimes, and Lisa, I don't think that is necessarily just a man-woman thing. Derek mentioned specifically, like in the Black community, I think that there's a stigma attached to going to get professional help that we have with each other. Like, well, I'm not crazy. Why would I go see a psychologist or a psychiatrist? Mm-hmm. There are these things, this helpline. Now, before we get the show today, we're going to let's look at the number for the suicide line. If there's anybody watching and you are embarrassed to talk to anybody, call the suicide line. You can call one of us, contact us via the internet, Facebook, message us. But the thing is, it's a stigma about going and getting professional help. Like, I'm not weak or I'm not crazy. It doesn't have anything to do with sanity. Anxiety has nothing to do with that. People get stressed out. Life is stressful. You got bills. You have children. You have cars. Whatever your trigger is. A lot of times around the holidays, that's where you see a spike in suicides around Christmas times, things like that. Whether it be people are depressed for not having family, or people are depressed because they can't get gifts for their kids. You don't know what the pressures are. If you're going through a depression, we love you. I mean, you got people that love you. Reach out, talk to people. I look at suicide as a permanent fix for a temporary issue. I think we talked about this before. And then the people who just tell you to pray on it, don't just tell people to pray on it. Really find out, dig deeper than that. I know, God may be an answer for a lot of people, but it's good too that they seek counsel. They seek counsel. There's a lot of things out there to help. I think this is an important issue. I think, I know I go through depression every winter. Every winter, I get depressed from the time the first snowfall hit to almost about the last snowfall. And I attribute it to a traumatic experience when I was young, when somebody robbed us and beat us up and locked us in the basement. But who knows? Maybe, I should be seeking professional help.
Thing too, I've had my troubles with depression. I've been, dealing with depression since early teens. And then there's the other elephant in the room when we talk about the Black community. What I'm saying? When you talk about the post-traumatic slave syndrome. I don't want to get into. I'm going to get into. That's another show altogether. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, when you're talking about the stresses and the anxieties and the things that's passed on from generation to generation. And I think Gigi, you touched on it. You're a step ahead if you recognize it. You know what I mean? If you see it, because a lot of times we walk around. I know when I was depressed, I didn't know I was depressed. I never thought like, oh, you know, I'm depressed. You know what I mean? I just know I didn't want to leave my room. I know, you know what I'm saying, being in the hood, sometimes that might have saved my life because when everybody was outside wilding and doing a lot of things, I was a lot of times I would go through one of my depression. I would be in there playing Legend of Zelda. And I wanted to deal with nobody. I didn't want to go nowhere. I didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to do nothing. I didn't think there was anything wrong with me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think, you know, even as I got older, I would get in moods and I never really understood it until you really, and that's why when you go to a therapy, all they do is they ask you questions and they make you think. They make you go back. You basically have a therapy for yourself because they make you dig deep into things that's happened to you, things that you may have buried in your subconscious. Correct. And so when we have to be in a state, because you can have therapy for you, you can theorize yourself, but you have to go there. Most of us, we don't. I'm willing to go there. Yeah, a lot of times we wait till our back against the wall. Like that's when you see people go to prison. You know, go to prison and lost everything, and now all they have to do is just look at everything they ever done in life. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then you start thinking about this, you start thinking about that, and you start doing the work, and you start realizing shit that you may have never even gave any thought. Yeah. So, you know, a lot of times we have to, be try to understand yourself. And all understand, you know what I'm saying? Think about when you were a child, the relationship with you and your mom, the relationship with you and your dad. And that's a big part of it too, because even if you have an absent father, absent mother, that's still a relationship. Yeah. You know, that still affects you. That's rejection. You know, I didn't understand that. I was like, well, I ain't never had my dad before. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I don't, it ain't, I can't miss nothing you ever had. But what is it causing in your psyche? But as a child, that's you being rejected by your father. What of that? You know what I mean? So that affects you being rejected by your mother. Even if they ain't never there, it's like you grow up thinking like, damn, why didn't they, you know what I mean? And all this stuff factors into how you feel about yourself. The whole nine yards. So that's just one thing. And another, like I said earlier, man, you know, we have to do better. You know, I'm on Facebook, I go on posts, and I see how people talk to each other. I see how we interact with each other, man. It's just so ugly. Like, you know, we can talk to each other with respect. Well, a lot more respect. A lot more respect. You know what I mean? It's like, like it's like my sister. I was. Wait, hold that thought. Hey, Lisa went on. She pulled the number up. If you are battling depression or you feel suicidal, there's a helpline. The number is 1-800-273-8255. Once again, that's 1-800-273-8255. Don't suffer alone. Don't suffer in silence. If you can't talk to a friend, talk to us. Go talk. They have trained professionals. Don't feel embarrassed. We'd rather have you here than you hurting yourself. Once again, suicide hotline, 1-800-273-8255. Now, you saying about your sister? You were saying, well, you know what? While we're doing that, you can take a sip. Lee Mitchell, she said, honestly, being around people in my family and knowing that their behavior wasn't normal, it made me more willing to go to seek therapy and address my mental state. She went on to say, most of our mental health problems stem from childhood trauma. All of them. And you know what? And we were talking about whenever a psychologist or psychiatrist talk to you, what's the first thing they want to know? Yeah. They want to know your past, your history. But it's an old saying. They said we spent 18 years as a child. We spend the rest of our life trying to get over it. Yeah. And that's the truth. Jewel said they need to seek help, but won't. People don't reach. We won't know until it's too late. You know what? You're right, because some people don't give warning signs, but sometimes they do. If you have somebody who said, oh, I'm thinking about killing myself or whatever, don't take that lightly. Yeah. Don't, because it's a little truth in every joke. And when you see that, continue to reach out to them, counsel them. I've actually had a few things that have happened this week. And, talking to one of my young people this week, I really feel that that's what she was saying, that she was thinking about that. So I've just made sure, hey, you're 21. You haven't experienced much. You probably had some trauma, but it's so much more that life can bring. You can change your whole life around.
But you were talking about your experience. I totally cut you off. To get back into it.
I mean, it's just I have admitted too that I've thought about suicide a lot. You know what I'm saying? As a young man, especially as a teenager. I mean, basically every day. I did. I thought
I was with you every day.
I thought about suicide quite a lot. I've shared the story. I've told you the story.
Yeah, we did talk.
I used to go. Anybody that used to go down to the flats, remember the old German lady that had the dog, and the dog would just chase people, or come up to you, start barking, whatever,
protecting her.
And I remember one day I was feeling real bad. I was going down there, and they had the Ohio Fest, and so they was having all the people down there, and so they ended up taking this woman's dog. Now this one, I don't know if she couldn't speak a lick of English. She had no place to go. She had nothing but that dog.
I remember.
And I was in my feelings. I was depressed. I was thinking crazy, and I was walking to work, and I saw this woman, and the dog was gone. And it's like I'm looking at this woman. It's like she has nothing, and she's still. And I'm sitting there, and I got everything. You know what I mean? I had to look at, it really, it's really about perspective. And to anybody who go through, I know how it might feel to feel like nobody cares, don't nobody love you, and don't nobody want you around, and you thinking like everybody'd be better off without you here and all that shit. That's not true. You know what I'm saying? It's it ain't true. It's that be you be telling people that voice in your head be telling you all that stuff, but it's not true. People love you. People would be devastated.
That's true.
To lose you. And so you have to, because that's who you hurt. It's a very selfish act, because it's just like you say, you're not taking the pain away, you're giving it to somebody else times 10.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because it's like when somebody close to you kills themselves, it's like everybody's like, man, why come I didn't see it? What did I miss? You know what I mean? It's a very hurtful thing. It's very hurtful because especially you just don't know. You just don't know if it was something you could have said, or it's something you might have said that might have pushed this person over the head. That's why, again, we have to be
cognizant.
We have to be, cognizant. Treat people like you would want to treat themselves, because you just don't know. That customer service lady that you cussed out. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what that woman's going through. You don't know what that woman, and sometimes my sisters, y'all sisters, y'all cuss motherfucker out like it's a sport. You know what I'm saying?
Best at it.
You can't cuss out that Walmart clerk that put your peanut butter in the iced tea bag. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to cuss that woman out. You know what I mean? You don't have to do, you don't know what she going through. She working at 16 hours, probably ain't got no babysitter, probably, you know what I'm saying, mom on dialysis, and you know what I mean? You just start cuss this woman out. And you don't even know what that might entail at the end. So we just got to be more loving of each other, man. And I think that's a big part of it too. And, again, if you feeling a certain way, you got to talk to somebody. You got to know that there's somebody you can talk to, no matter what you may feel.
You know what? Roosevelt Pendleton, shout out to Penn. That's my barber. He's like a father figure. He's like a John Rankin. John Rankin was a father figure to us. We were absent of it. He told me, and this is for men and women, let's say you don't seek professional help. If you could be in another city, walk inside a beauty shop, walk inside a barber shop, and just lay your problems down. It's always going to be somebody there to talk to you in one of these type of places.
A lot of times it's easier to talk to strangers than it is to talk to somebody you know.
And strangers give you the best advice because they don't know you, and they don't know the problems you have, and they might not even know the people you had a problem with, but they'll be honest with you. Once again, you tuned in to Full Disclosure. You got Lisa, you got D, you got Rich. We're talking about suicide right now and depression. Once again, if you're feeling depressed, you're feeling suicidal, there's help out there. Dial 1-800-273-8255. Once again, that number is 800-273-8255. I want to take a look at some of the comments we've had since that. Hey, Michael, thanks for joining us.
You're wrong right there. Yeah, when you start questioning yourself, it will all come to light. Some people direct their questions in the wrong direction.
That's so true. That's so true.
That is definitely
That's true. You need good sounding boards. Not everybody going to be great support as well. Okay. Makila, Lily, it seems like so many people my age are dealing with mental health issues, mental health problems, and using drugs or alcohol to help them cope. or cover up these problems. That is
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
that is so true. That people use coping mechanisms, you know.
Yeah, that's nothing new. That's nothing new. You know,
Yeah.
people always, you know, because the thing is, like I said, you will step if you start being aware of your own self. You one step ahead because a lot of people don't know they have anxiety. A lot of people don't realize they're depressed. A lot of people don't realize they're bipolar. A lot of people don't realize these things, and they're living their lives in a certain lane, and they wonder why they can't get a footing on nothing or anyone, whatever it may be. And it's like you're a mystery to yourself. So you have to understand the problem first. And once you understand the problem, you can have steps to start to work it out. Correct?
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Agree.
But
Once
you
you
got to
address it.
realize it's a problem first, and that's you a step ahead if you know what it is. If you know what you're dealing with, then you can start to look at it like, okay, I'm depressed right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
all these thoughts that I'm having right now, they're not real. You know what I mean? I'm just depressed right now.
I'm in a moment.
I'm just in a moment.
I'm in the moment right now.
I'm
Yeah,
just
I'm in my
moment.
feelings.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can deal with
My
it
Drake
a
moment.
lot better. Yeah, you can deal with like this. This is gonna pass.
Yeah.
If you gotta lock yourself in your bedroom and cry, whatever you gotta do, listen to put some Drake on,
Yeah.
put some Mary J. Blige on. You know what I'm saying? Do what you gotta do.
Cry it out.
Yeah, cry it out. But you know that that's all it is. Like it's not the end of the world. Like I know sometimes it can feel like that. You know what I mean? But it's not. It's just you just going through, and you just have to try to understand it, go through it, and come out the other side.
And people, there's nothing wrong with just crying. There's nothing wrong with crying. You introduced me to a song years ago. I don't even know if you know. Life Jennings, this song called Cry.
Put that record on.
He said, crying is like taking your soul to the laundromat. That's powerful. It's nothing wrong with showing emotions. And men, and I'm speaking from a man's point of view. A lot of times, you told, like you said, Lisa, earlier, you said you can't cry, you can't do that machismo stuff. That's BS. The Creator, God, gave you every emotion. Sometimes you have to use your emotion. You cry just like anybody else cry. Don't be too proud to cry or break down. Come see your brother. If you got a woman in your life, you got a significant other, cry to them. If you can't show who you are to the people in your life, then maybe they ain't the right people to have in your life. Maybe you need new people in your life. And go seek out professional help. Hold on, let's look at some of the comments we got here. You watching Full Disclosure. We're talking about suicide and depression. All right, Jewel Mitchell writes, I think me being overweight and not having my dad around affected me and caused me to have self-esteem issues. It also affected my choices in men because he never guided me in what men are supposed to do and how to treat a woman. So, you know what? I could say that's probably a large portion of people that probably could say certain things like that. And I was there to kind of witness. I witnessed all this. It's my older sister. So, I feel like I'm connected to all my siblings. Each of my siblings I have certain relationships with.
I feel connected now that me and my siblings are older. Like, I've always been pretty close to my little brother. Mm-hmm. And then, he straight off. He kind of like, got a little separated, but things happen, you know what I'm saying? He coming back, you know what I'm saying? That's another story. But me and my sister, you know what I'm saying? Love you, big sis. Me and her growing up, like, we was like, oh my God, oil and water, like, oh my God. And the older we got, the closer we got, you know what I'm saying? And now we got a pretty tight relationship, you know what I'm saying? I can see us growing. So, yeah. That's...
No, that's good that you want to stay close. That way she can open up to you if something on her mind, or he can open up to you if something on his mind.
We be talking and we be sharing stuff, and it be at first it was kind of weird, like, but now,
So now, if something went down, they could feel comfortable to call you and tell you,
feel comfortable talking
and vice
to my
versa.
sister about things, and I feel as if she would feel comfortable talking to me about things.
And and a lot of that is letting things go.
Yeah.
So sometimes people have a big family but can't talk to anyone, and sometimes that might be, you might feel like don't nobody love me. Like I see so many posts on Facebook where people say, I'm rolling by myself. I'm on my dolo, and I only trust it. I only trust my kid. Yeah, but I don't know what causes that. I guess I'm an old head. I know I can call my sisters and brothers if I needed to.
See, at that time, growing up, when I was younger, at that time, I didn't feel that way. I've been through a lot growing up. I had a crazy little childhood, and then as I got a little older, I was little crazy, you know. I was no, you know, a little
But,
crazy.
you know,
Yeah.
the thing though, you have to you have to be able to talk to somebody. As a sister, as a brother. You know, when you're feeling a certain type of way, you feeling, you know, you feeling like nobody cares, and you feeling like whatever it is you're feeling, you got to be able to, you know, and when, if you build a relationship with your sister, if you build a relationship, you know you got some ace in the hole.
That's
You know
right.
what I mean? That when the chip is down, you can call
That's
and
right.
say, this is what's going on with you. You know what I mean? Be vulnerable. And I think it was another point when we talk about men dealing with this problem. There's a whole other ball game with the stuff that women have to go through growing up. You know what I mean? Have to deal with, and then a lot of, you know, with men, especially with men, you know, the type of man that women deal with growing up, it puts certain stigma in women, and they feel a certain type of way. You know what I
And
mean?
when you
Yeah.
grow up and you grow up in a certain way, I didn't even realize it until I started becoming, you know, a little more conscious and a little more to myself that literally the type of father that you have or the type of man that you grow up with, whether it be your brother, grandpa, whoever raised you, like you literally attract those type of people.
Wow.
So I had the type of life that I grew up in. Once I sat back and analyzed some shit, I realized like I literally was attracting the type of man that my father was.
Mhm.
And growing up, me and my father, you know, we didn't have a good relationship. It was crazy.
That's right.
And I literally found myself attracting those type of guys. And once I realized that, I was able to be like, okay, this ain't what I want.
Mhm.
You know, and at first I was like, I'm not really sure exactly what I want, but I know what I don't
You
want.
know what you don't want.
And
Yeah.
once I start focusing on what I knew that wasn't right, you know, like, let me leave that back there and let me start looking for a better. I started attracting different people. I started attracting different relationships
I got you.
and everything. And I really did see a change. And then once I started seeing that, like things just started to fall into play. And my life has changed significantly with the way I've been changed, the way how I changed my thought process,
I
how I
got you.
started thinking and seeing things differently, and like, dang, like,
That's a big
this
part.
is me.
Yeah, your
It's
thoughts.
my fault.
That's
You
a
know what I'm
big
saying?
part of
Be the
self.
change you want to see.
That's a big part of self. That's the big part of depression is self-esteem. How do you feel about yourself? Your sister said she felt about herself a certain way.
A certain way.
A lot of it had to do with the way she was treated.
Correct.
You felt yourself
And
about yourself a certain way.
and I felt that the
A
reason why I
large
felt
man.
that way was because I was the way I was treated growing up, you know.
Correct.
And it wasn't just things that happened in my family; it was things that happened outside my family, you know,
Correct.
with
Correct.
my so-called friends. And well, you know, you really don't know what a friend
It really
is.
is,
You
yeah.
think you do,
Yeah.
but you
But you
really
don't know.
don't. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And when you get your so-called first boyfriend, first girlfriend, you think you love them, but you really don't. And
Yeah.
then you like.
Well, it's a process. But get back to Jewel. You know, man, be a father to your daughters. Be a father to your kids in
Please.
general. But
Please.
be a father. And I will say this: the generation after our father's generation, I think we did a great job of being dads. We wanted to be those dads. We wanted to be the providers. We wanted to give them the things we didn't have, and probably to a fault, because a lot of y'all bastards are very disrespectful and spoiled. But anyway,
Well, despite
Yeah.
of what the numbers might say, but black fathers have been black fathers for, you know what I
they're
mean?
most involved fathers
It's,
as
you know,
well.
It's a misnomer. I mean, there's a lot of us who I grew up with without dad, but I know a lot of guys. I know a lot of dads. I know a lot of guys
Yeah.
that I went to school with had dads in their life.
Say that.
You know, and you go by the numbers.
Mr. Ferris. Shit.
Yeah, the numbers. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? More and more fathers are involved.
Yeah,
You know, so don't let that fool you. But the ones that ain't need to get involved.
that's it. All right, let's read some of these.
We got Derek
Okay,
Williams there.
Okay, Derek. And Drew says she still have issues of animosity towards your dad. You gotta let that go. You know, you're heading toward 50. You gotta let that stuff go. I mean, he's old. Let it go. Derek Williams.
Not for his sake.
No, for yours.
For your sake.
For your sake.
You know, and
For
real
your-
quick,
your-
It
just
took me
your
a minute
mental.
to like
forgiving
get past
someone.
my daddy issues.
Forgiving someone is not about them. It's about you and your mental.
Say
When
that
I was
again.
younger, that used to sound so stupid to me. I'm like, what? That's
Yeah.
stupid. But But then, you know, once I start coming into my own, like, you know what?
It's amazing.
That do make a lot more sense. You know, I love growing
Because you
older.
carry that with you.
I'm sorry, but I can't feel the people, the females, the men that feel some type of way when they get older. Like, I love the fact that I'm getting older.
Hey, and it's not just to appearance, it's just in people in general. If you got a few that's over 20 years old, let that go. You got a few that's over 15 years old, let it go. If you got something over 10 years old, let it go. Don't forget what happened, but forgive and move on, because that's stuff you put in your mind. That's taking up mental space in your mind. It's stopping you from being the ultimate you.
And
That's
true.
How can you grow as a person if you still holding this animosity and anything can flip you off? You don't just pretend you let it go. Let it go. But seek professional help. What you were saying, you want to read Derek?
Oh, yeah.
Derek?
He said depression has become a trend in the younger generation. Being fake depressed is the new wave, and music has played a big factor. Look at some of today's rappers rapping about depression and drugs, and it's become a trend. There's a whole other aspect to it. But see, the thing about that is, it's not a trend. Depression it's been around. Like, people have been depressed and just didn't realize they've been depressed. And with the generation with the opioid, you're dealing with and the social media. We talked last week about social media. See, this generation has a whole another animal to deal with.
Social media, yeah,
it has a whole another animal
we
to deal
didn't
with.
even see.
Yes, and you talk about bullying. Like, I thought, so I couldn't believe when I heard somebody was getting bullied on social media. I'm like, how the hell
do you get bullied on the computer?
Yeah, like, how is that possible? You know what I mean?
Like, a computer came up and kicked you down the downstairs.
Like,
I had real bullies. They used to beat the shit out of me.
You get bullied, but this is real thing, and then when you see stuff like people will take pictures of people. And then next thing you know, around the school, everybody has copies of this picture.
That is pretty horrible.
And shit,
that's pretty horrible.
The things this generation has to deal with is, it's a whole another beast. So I don't think it's a trend. I think what you hear is what people are dealing with bleed through into the music. You can't, and when people are talking about being depressed, and when people are online, I see it all the time when people are talking about ending their life. Yeah, some of them, it is for attention, but just like you said, you got to take that serious.
You got to take everyone. They thinking about it.
Yeah, they thinking about it.
They thinking about it.
That attention is what's keeping them from maybe, just you thinking. You might see it like, this motherfucker just wants some attention.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it'd be the one that will call that person, or the one that will inbox that person and say, hey, you know what I mean? Why don't we go get some coffee? You know what I'm saying? Why don't we, maybe you don't even want to talk about it, but just reach out to them.
Some companionship.
You know what I'm saying?
You watch a full disclosure.
One time that nobody reaches out. And then next thing you know, they can blow their brains on, and everybody's looking like, oh, why, what happened? It's just like, so.
But you notice, and I'm going to cut you off, they go through their social media feed, and then they start seeing certain clues that person. So if you see somebody putting some stuff up different in their social media and they not acting right, check on them. You know what? Matter of fact, if you're watching this, text everybody or give everybody a call, hit everybody up, let them know you're there to listen. We had some more stuff, but I'm going to let you go ahead. We just had Johnny Jones join. We got a few more comments.
Sister just joined. Hey, sis.
Hey, Georgia, she said, I've learned how to vent as I've gotten older, and that's always good. Lily said, I also think about how the Black community suppresses our voice while we're growing up. That's a big issue. I would have to agree to a large degree. I've seen it myself where, the kids are told to shut up and not be expressive. That's how the wonderment, that's how a kid grows and learns. That's why they ask, why? What color is the sky? Blue. Why? And after a while, you do get tired, but that wonderment. And then also that because I said so. I'm not saying that you need to bargain with your kids all the time, because sometimes it is just because you said so. But talk to your kids. Hear your kids out. I think that parents in general have a tendency to not take their kids' feelings into consideration at all, just because you're the parent. So it always comes off like you're snapping or mean. I think that you have to be agile enough to listen to the feedback that you're getting from your child, because even though your kid is coming back smiling, how many days did you come back smiling and something traumatic happened to you? I remember getting shot at my 13th birthday and coming back and not telling my mama anything. that's a traumatic experience. It might be a young lady or a young boy that somebody tried to touch them, and something might have happened, something might not have happened, but it's so traumatic, but they don't come back and tell their parents. So we have our stresses of the day for being parents. You know, you out there, you trying to make money, you going to your job, you got bills on, you got whatever you got on you. Take the time to listen to your kids, because remember, their brain is still being formed. You know, sometimes it's not, we could be selfish as a parent and look at things just through our lens, but we always tell them, I was your age before, you ain't never been my age, but just remember how you was feeling. Yeah, my dad
used to tell me that all the time.
What do you say?
He'd be like, I was your age, but you ain't never been my age.
Yes,
so sit back and shut up.
Sit back and shut up. But see, here's the thing. You mentioned something about the first love, and you said now you realize it wasn't love, but don't diminish your kids, because in a way it feels like you laughing at them. Like if they come through and they be like, oh, this girl broke my heart, or this boy broke my heart. And you be like, oh, that's just puppy love. Well, now you kind of diminish how they were feeling. You got to think. Let's say the first time you had a job and you got fired, it felt a certain type of way. You know what I'm saying? Let's say the first time you had a car and you had a car accident, it felt a certain type of way. Yeah. Now, we've all been through it, or a lot of us have been through it. Now we can say, well, you make it past that. But you always think, what was I feeling when that happened to me at that particular time? Each thing that happens to you grows you. So getting your heart broke by a girl, or finding out she liked your best friend more than you, or he like other girls that's doing it because you're a virgin, you refuse to give it up. It hurts them. Don't diminish their feeling. You know, and I think that we have a tendency to do that. We got to hear our kids. And you're listening to Full Disclosure.
I think too, man, just piggyback off what y'all just said. Everything that happens to you does become a part of who you are. And a lot of that comes in and when you lose a loved one, you know what I mean? I know people personally that have lost a child. I know people who have lost their mom, who have lost their siblings, you know, and I know how hard that can be. And if somebody you know has committed suicide, I know how hard that can be. Sometimes we feel pressure from society to get on with it, you know what I mean? To move on, to, you know, grieve. Look, you never really stop grieving when you lose somebody. Anybody know, you know, you have to understand that becomes who you are. That person lives through you. So you have to live your life. You know, a lot of times especially when you see people who have lost a child.
Yeah, I never want to experience that pain.
And, you know, but
never.
You know, that child is still with you. You know, that child is part of you. You know what I mean? And you never stop grieving. You don't have to.
No.
Don't feel like you have to. Don't feel like you have to get over it. No, that stays with you. You just have to find a way to put it with all the other shit you've been carrying, you know, and we continue to move on. So everything that happens to you, everything that is building, you just, you know, you don't have to just try to get rid of it. Or I think a lot of times people feel like they need to push it up and go. You know what I mean? Like, you know, nah, you know, keep it with you. Keep always remember that person. Always keep that person with you every day. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. I know I'm going to, you know what I mean? Like, you just don't put that away. And I think sometimes we feel pressure to, you know, you only can stay out of work for 3 days, or, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, so you got to go, you know, and life goes on, nothing stops. So a lot of times, man, people, you know, I know a lot of people get, you know, depressed. They lost their dad, they lost their mom, they lost their brother. You know, it's like, I know it's hard. Yes, it's hard. I know it's hard, but, you know, don't feel like you have to move on. You know what I mean? You have to live. You have to live. You never move on.
But never give up that memory.
Yeah, you never move on. You just continue to live. And you know, my philosophy is to live your life, you know, in memory or dedication to that person. You know what I'm saying? Because you know they want that's what I would think they would want.
They want you to go on.
You know, I want, you know, anybody, my sons, you know, everybody, you know, right now, I want you to keep doing what the fuck you're doing. You know what I mean? I want you to keep press on, because you know, you'll be able to hear my voice in your head. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You'll know you'll be doing something. Right now? And Dad will be like, oh, you know, Dad would be with that shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Or you might be patting him on the back. Mm-hmm. Hey, you joined in Full Disclosure. We're talking about depression. We're talking about suicide. We're talking about losing a family member and going on. Jerry Farrell just joined. Nikki Hill just joined. How you doing? when we were talking about kids and talking to their parents and being dismissed, Lily said, then they wonder why we don't go to our mother or father or family if they're not being listened to. Once again, if you're suffering with depression or you have something on your mind, there's nobody to talk to, there's a suicide line. The number is 1-800-273-8255. And it just doesn't have to be just because of suicide. Right. Maybe you just need somebody to talk to and listen to and vent. So call this number. It's not just, maybe you just down today. Call it. Talk. These people are trained professionals. 800-273-8255. You're listening to Full Disclosure. Now, we're coming up on a 50-minute mark. We like to keep it tight. I think that this is a great topic. And I think that this is something we should have periodically because people have lost a mother, a father, a son, a daughter, an uncle, an aunt who meant something to them and probably can't express it. So I like if there's somebody who's a medical professional out there who has the opportunity or who would like to come on and speak to this, and give an opinion from a professional point of view, that's a good thing. But while we have some time left, I wanted to bring up this one thing that this week I met a guy named James. And James owns a company in which he helps drug addicted folks or people who are having trouble with addiction and also depression. And what he told me as a psychologist or psychiatrist in those fields, they're trained to deal with, okay, what happened in your past, what's going on now. And a lot of times they'll give a report back to the court because sometimes it's court ordered. And they'll say this person wasn't ready for treatment. But what he said is he didn't realize he was saying it from a perspective of a white man. He's like, some of the people that they get in that are black or of other ethnicities have a different experience with the world. And he said, he grew up poor. He fought himself up by the bootstraps. He didn't have rich parents. But he said, I never really realized that I had privilege. He said, I thought white privilege was when you had money or whatever. He started doing social experiments.
And most white people do.
With his partner, right? So he said, we would go to a restaurant. And because one was black, one was white, they never thought they were together. So they would say, well, let's see what happens. He would always get seated first. He'd always have the waitress come over first. He'd always get his water first. He'd always get his order first. He said he didn't even realize it was a problem. They would go to the store. He said, I get my change in my hand all the time. He said, I didn't realize they put your change on the countertop. I said, man, he's like, I did not realize. He's like, and I don't think that people realize, black people realize, we don't see that. We don't know that you're going through that every single day. And we just take it for granted. Like, no, you went to the store and they just doing this. So his black friend graduated from Yale University, right? So they were in a restaurant and they weren't sitting together. And the brother had on a Yale shirt. And there was this dad that looked at the shirt and said, look, son, he has on a Yale shirt. He wishes he can go to Yale. The guy graduated from Yale, right? And he's like, man, I was so livid. I wanted to say something. He's like, I just couldn't believe somebody would be so ignorant. And he's like, so when he talks to the psychologist now, before you say that they're not ready for treatment, they have to learn to trust you. Do you see things through their eyes? So he's like, speaking of depression, do you think that's a cause of a lot of things that we go through as a people? Like, you're out in this world and people can't see things in your eyes. Like you said earlier, you don't know what it is to wear another person's shoes. Your experience, Lisa, is different from mine in this world. Mine is different from yours. Yeah, we got a lot of commonalities, but how can I make myself sensitive to the things women go through? And I'll say women have a tougher time than men in this life. Men, we do have a tough time being black men. We get on the elevator, everybody tense up. You walk past somebody's car, they turn around.
Man, it's just different.
It's just different. It's a different experience. So how can we bridge that gap? Do you put everybody in blackface and then put us in whiteface and have us go out and see the difference?
I think that would be a good experience, a good social experience.
You think so?
I do.
All right, so we're gonna put ourselves in whiteface and go out for a week and see what happens. Man, I wouldn't suggest the white people put themselves in blackface though.
I think that the black people will have a way.
What's up, Robert?
Way different experience than the white people because I ain't gonna say all white people that I know, but a lot of white people that I know, like,
Never experienced it.
never experienced, don't know nothing about nothing. And when I say to them, you know, things that we experienced, they like say the common thing. Like, if I speak up on a black man getting killed by a police officer, unjustified,
They bring a black on black
they'll
crime.
right, or they'll find something in it like, well, he shouldn't have ran. Well, what do you mean he shouldn't have ran? He wasn't running, like he had his hands up. It was back.
They shot him in the back 6
You know what I'm
times.
saying? Like, what do you mean he was running? And it was close range, so how far did he go if he did run? And they just be like, they'll find a way to make it
Justifiable.
right.
They blame the victim for what happened. You know, it's funny. Robert Marks just joined us. Jerry Farrell, Nikki, thank you. Jerry, you posted something this week. Just the other day. Hold on. We got The Champion. That is actually a show that displayed that. There's actually a show that displayed that. Oh, what's that? Switching Places?
Is that called Switching Places?
Is that what you're talking about?
I think it is.
Living in. I gotta check that out.
Where that guy, he'll like have like a restaurant scenario, and he'll be in the restaurant.
Like, what would you do?
Person, yeah, what would you do?
What would you do?
Is that what
Yeah.
you're talking about? What would you do?
That'd be good to know.
Man, you know, I don't want to get too deep. I might get a little deep.
This full disclosure.
You know,
Look, hey, this full way.
I'm gonna dive off the edge a little bit on this.
We specialize in that.
We don't deal with each other on a spiritual level. We don't deal with each other as equals. Like, if you deal with each other on a spiritual level, you treat each other as an extension of yourself. That's how I try to do it.
But most people don't understand the difference between spirituality
that's what
religion.
That's what we're getting into, because it's not even it's religion, but it's racism also. We see each other's differences. You know what I mean? We've been trained to see each other's differences. We've been trained to look toward each other, and religion has been a tool that has used to do that. That's we can get on that, but we get on. Yeah, I mean, we've been trained to look each other. Let's go there. It's three major tools they use. The first is the media. The media is the number one tool they use, and then the second is religion. The third is education system. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That we've been all three of those things are used to train each other how to deal with each other. So we don't see each other as equals. We see each other as our subjects. You know what I'm saying? What you're talking about, racism and all these things have got in the way of how we deal with each other. So we don't deal with each other as human beings.
No.
You know what I mean? We don't deal with each other as human beings, and that's how you get people to treat people so ugly. You know what I mean?
You taught me something when you were 15. I think I was 16. You told me something. You were like, it's easy to treat people bad once you dehumanize them. So that's why people give people names. You don't call the person smoking crack cocaine Linda. You call her a crackhead. Now you could once you've taken her human aspect away, you could treat her any way you can. Yeah. That's why, the nigger was so prevalent before. Now it's crazy now that they've stopped getting free labor, those tags and titles still linger. Like, it's like the remnants of what they were doing to get this cash grab stuck around. I know that's not what you were going, but people think spiritual, treating people right on a spiritual level doesn't mean you getting down and you praying with them or
right. Exactly. That's where they've been brainwashed.
It is being one with that person. And I like, if anybody is still watching this, hey KK, how you doing? This is full disclosure, but some words I like to see just eliminated. Stupid, fat, and ugly. Whenever I see some of the most beautiful, even some of my family members, beautiful people physically, they're always calling somebody ugly. They're always calling somebody stupid, and they're always calling somebody fat.
You know what hurt me?
Please stop using those words. Go ahead, Lisa.
I had a family member call another family member a fat bitch. And the person...
I don't know why that's funny, but it's kind of funny.
I mean, when I heard this person call this person that...
You lost respect for him, probably.
I ain't gonna lie, I chuckle a little bit like y'all.
Yeah.
You chuckle too, family member.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was so messed up because that's not a family member that you would expect to be talking to someone like this. Like, what?
Correct.
And it made me feel like I had to catch myself and remember, like, this is still my elder.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, man, like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
That
Like,
goes to
come the
that
fuck
goes
up.
to the point that I was making earlier about a lot of times we treat the people we say we love the worst, and that shit does the worst damage.
Correct.
You know what I mean? When people you love, and I know I've seen baby moms and baby fathers go through these custody battles for the kids, and some of the ugliest things being said toward each other. People who used to love each other, people who are married, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Say some of the worst things to each other, and you don't know what a person is going through. Like I said before, so it's like we treat the people who we love the worst sometimes.
I agree.
People in relationships talk to each other.
Take it for granted.
Just because you feel a certain type of way doesn't give you the cachet to talk to somebody any way you see fit. You know what I mean? It's just, it's about treating somebody as an extension of yourself. We can disagree. We can each other. We just respect you. Just respect you. Just have some respect for the next person. You know what I mean? If you do, sometimes in the heat of we get in an argument, we say something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's so lazy and so selfish for somebody to just say, you know what I mean? Like it was a post that said people would rather cut you off than apologize.
Oh my God.
People would rather cut you off. People would rather not speak to you for the rest of your life than admit that they was wrong.
I know a few people like that. Yeah. Wow, that's pride.
And we were friends for a long time, and she was she was my elder.
Wow.
It was more like auntie type deal, you know what I'm saying? And the situation, I would have been assaulted, but I would have got over it had you been like, oh yeah, I did, my bad. But like I ain't talked to you in a few years.
But see, that's pride. That's pride.
Apology goes a long way.
The show is called Black White. The Champion said the show is called Black White that she was talking about with Ice Cube. And she just said, in my opinion, people need to people need to be put in their place. They are wrong because of the opposite. And people, hold on, maybe I'm reading this wrong. Because on the opposite end, needs to see that someone stands against the type of verbal abuse. Okay, I see what she's saying. She's saying, sometimes people need to be put in their place. And when people give them verbal abuse, they need to be challenged in doing that verbal abuse. And I agree with you. Just because you're older than someone, and that's what I just heard you in the last two things you said. It's been older people that
and
maybe
they
lacking
always
maturity.
treat you, and they always treat you like another family member. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they're older, they just automatically assume that they can talk to you in any old way, and then you won't even say anything disrespectful. You just be like, well, wait a minute. I am an adult now, so this, that, ABC, 1, 2, 3, and they're like, well, you're disrespecting me. Get out my house. Don't talk to me. And blah, 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 blah. But I'm like, well, just because you are X amount of years older than me, that doesn't mean that I don't have an opinion. I don't have an ideal. That don't mean I don't have a voice. And that don't mean I don't have feelings.
Say that.
But I feel like in this situation, that person, not only do they dismiss your feelings, they also dismiss you as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like this particular family member, they do that just because they are older than you, just because you are a female, just because you are whatever, they look at you as being less than.
And I think too, what she's saying, there's a way to do everything. There's a way to do it. You know what I mean? Look, man, I
love our last line.
Yeah, I try. Let me see. It's learned behavior in a cycle that needs discontinued.
It needs to be discontinued. I agree.
It does.
Yes, it does.
There's a way to respond. There's a way. Look, trust me, man. There's a lot of times I want to be petty. There's a lot of times I want.
I'm Tom Petty. I ain't gonna lie.
I mean, there's a lot of times.
You say you're Tom Petty?
I'm Tom Petty. Rest in peace.
Petty.
Rest in peace, Tom Petty. I am Tom Petty.
No, it's hard to be the one that has to be the bigger person sometimes. It's sometimes you want to get down on certain people's levels and talk, you know what I'm saying? But it's a way to
It's a way to do everything.
There's a way to do it. There's a way to say what you feel without being
Disrespectful.
Disrespectful.
I agree. That's me. That's more
me.
me.
How many times I got cussed out by some old drunk dude at the bar? Like for some reason, they would
shut your ass.
They would just try to cuss me out. And I would just laugh out and keep it moving. Where other people was ready to throw him out the bar and kick the shit out of him. You know what I mean? Like this dude ain't about to
You just ignore him.
Yeah, it's sometimes you got to take an L. You know what I mean? And if somebody's talking to you a certain type of way, sometimes you just gotta take the L. You ain't gonna put your hands on me. I can take the L. I can take a verbal L. I take a verbal L. You know what?
Finish that thought, because young guys listen to this. Taking a verbal L. Just listen to that.
Guys, man, especially
stop pulling out guns just because your feelings hurt. Exactly. Oh my God!
You can take the L.
Goodness.
A guy just tried me. I was just telling you.
Just the other day.
Look, I'm going real quick. I'm going to the laundromat. I get out, I'm trying to take my laundry out. This guy got his door wide open, smoking a cigarette. He's in the back seat of the car. His door is blocking my door. I'm so like, hey, young man, I want to get my laundry out. He just looks at me. I'm like, did this dude hear what I just said? Like, excuse me, man, I'm trying to get my laundry out. He tells me to go on the other side. Man, listen. The one side bracket almost came out like oh God. See, like what they say out there? Oh God, I want to snatch this way there.
I'm gonna snatch the soul.
So I move his door out the way. He's like, don't you ever put your hands on my door. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, like for real, like we have to laundry now. Like that's what I'm saying. People, we could be so ugly to each other, man. And it's just like
we can be.
It's like he don't know what I was going through that day. You know what I mean? I could have shot him 6 times. He had no idea what I was going through. I could have been having, what I'm saying? You just don't know, man. You don't know what somebody is doing. And when you see like these school shootings and you see stuff like this that, happens on like day, like what was it, 1 month in January, it was like every week there was somebody shooting up the school. And then where you got bullying and all this stuff is in the play, mental health, all this stuff is plays a part. You just, not that I don't think bullying has anything to do with it, but it has something, it can have something to do with it. Yeah. You just gotta treat people with respect. I mean, you ain't gotta kiss their ass.
This is respect.
It's just a basic respect.
Hey, The Champion just said something that does tell off that. Hey, how you doing, King? Kia Brown just joined us. The said language shapes the way we think, and words are pretty much spells. So, and words can put you in certain type of spells or certain type of feelings, and I agree with that.
Your tongue is very powerful.
It's more powerful than you know.
It really is.
With that being said, can we just, for the people who joined us, text somebody after you hang up or call them and just tell them you love them. I don't want nothing from you. I just wanted to tell you I love you and you mean the world to me. Just how long, how much, what they say, take 2 seconds to send a text? Mm-hmm. Even if you do it as a group text, don't wait for a holiday. Don't wait for something. Tell them you love them.
And that goes to, I can't remember, somebody made a comment and I thought I was thought about something, but we got sidetracked. And I think a lot of things, how you can help yourself is to help other people. You know what I mean? A lot of times when we're going through things, I know for me personally, to help someone else, talk to someone else, or to be there for someone else, a lot of times helps your own self-esteem, helps you out. You know what I mean? So reaching out to somebody else, you could talk to me. I've had conversations with people, and they start talking about their life and what they're going through, and it's like everything they saying is like, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm going through the same thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's the testimony.
That's the testimony.
And you wind up being helped because you help someone else. So definitely reaching out, in the community, volunteering.
So what y'all think about the religion in the community?
You know what? We're gonna say that for next week. Since we on such a positive thing. Once again, you tuned in to Full Disclosure. You got Lisa in the house. You got Derek Lamont the first. You got your boy Baba Big Rich in the house. We were talking about depression. We talked about healthcare to start the show, and we've been talking about
religion
respect.
Makes you depressed.
Well, we got. That's next week's thing. Hey, if you're suffering from depression, you need somebody to talk to. There are professionals at 1-800 800-273-8255. Once again, the number is 800-273-8255. If you don't have anyone in your life to talk to, you can reach out to these people and talk to them. You can talk to one of us, inbox us, give us your feedback. If you just want to hear to listen, I promise it won't go any further than me. So reach out to me, text me, let me know. I definitely care. Hey, y'all, I think we kept it 100 today. We got another show in the books. I think this is a very important thing. If there's a healthcare professional that sees this and can add something, we definitely will want that.
Yeah, thanks again to everybody, man, asking questions. You know what I mean? Everybody's chiming in, everybody's supporting, you know.
We appreciate that. Your feedback is immeasurable. At least you got anything you want to say to the people?
No, just keep your head up and stay positive.
Treat people with love, man. Treat the people that you meet. Make eye contact with people when you walk past them, even if you don't know them. Speak to people. Just, stop cussing folks out for no reason, man.
And remember, what you think is what you attract.
Yeah, love each other.
Law of attraction.
That law of attraction. I'm gonna leave with that Lisa quote. The law of attraction. Send love, get love. Love you, Clarissa. I see you on here, Reese. All right, y'all. Another one in the books.
Bye.